Hello, my name is Evan Nicoll-Johnson, and I'm a Fulbright Fellow. Uh, I'm associated with the Chinese Literature Department at National Taiwan University, and my home institution in the States is UCLA in Los Angeles, California. The easiest way to explain the kind of broader context of my dissertation is it's about relationships between and among texts in early medieval China. So between, I think, is kind of self-explanatory. That means, looking at different categories of text, different genres, different ways that people organize books to make their contents more intelligible. Within the text is a different question. That's about the way the text is organized, like each book, the way it's organized, into chapters, into different sections based on its contents and so on. And so the project I'm working on here is actually about annotation, which is a way that scholars in this period could connect the contents of other texts to, for example, historical texts that they're interested in, sort of supplementing or contributing to that text. I think it's important because at this period in China, basically between the Han and the Tang dynasty, is when you start to see a lot of different kinds of text that had never really been written before, different sort of genres of text, different ways of organizing the contents of previously existing materials. And so what this project is trying to do is really to look at what these new types of book meant for scholars, especially people working on history and collecting narratives. And so this is a way of understanding, not only what texts were useful for the study of history, but what specific historical subjects these texts might relate to. And this is also important because a lot of these books no longer exist. And so the citations in these annotations are really the only evidence of their existence that we have now. And so I think a more precise understanding of how the contents of these texts relate to the sort of base texts that they're appended to will help us understand the broader context of scholarship and historiography in the early medieval period. Eventually, what I plan to do with the kind of annotated text that I've sort of manipulated digitally is to make this available online. And both of the books I'm working on, The Record of the Three Kingdoms and A New Account of Tales of the World, these are really popular texts, not only among scholars, but just among sort of non-academic fans of Chinese literature. And I think when I'm done with this, I'll be able to give fans of these books a new way to look at the way they're organized and a new way to look at their kind of role in the context in which they were first written. Doing this project in Taiwan and the kind of experiences I've had here, in a way they represent the kind of international promise of Chinese studies in the world. This year I've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of scholars from Taiwan and mainland China about my research and their research. And Taiwan is also a really great meeting place for scholars from around the world. And so I think this is really important because it gives us a lot of different perspectives on Chinese history and culture. And it shows that this is something that's kind of globally significant as opposed to just, interesting or important to people who live within the culture where it was developed.